Kurt Schütte, welkom op de podcast. Je bent CEO van RunEasi. Ik had je zien voorbij komen op LinkedIn al een paar keer. En ik ben zelf erg geïnteresseerd in health tech, preventie van injuries, preventie van blessures. Ik heb ook al een podcast opgenomen met Sanne Bonarens, ik weet niet of je die kent, van OnTracks. Ja. En dat werd ook heel goed onthaald. En RunEasi vond ik heel interessant. Ik heb het nu voor mij liggen, het is de eerste keer dat ik het zie. We hebben het al even getest buiten. Dat was ook wel leuk, heb ik gelopen in de straat. Daarover later meer. Ik ga je eventjes inleiden. Hè. Je hebt een PhD in sport, biomechanica aan de KU Leuven. Je komt oorspronkelijk uit Zuid-Afrika.
Ja, inderdaad. Ja.
Van Stellenbosch University ben je dan naar KU Leuven verhuisd.
Van Stellenbosch tot Leuven, ja.
En je bent ook CEO en een van de co-founders van RunEasi. De podcast gaan we waarschijnlijk along the way wel in het Engels beginnen doen. Dat is voor jou, denk ik, gemakkelijker.
Ja, dat klopt. Dat is makkelijk wel. Ik kan in Nederlands vragen beantwoorden, maar meestal in Engels. Een beetje Afrikaans of Afri-Vlaams. Mengelmoes van al die talen, maar ja.
Is er een leuk woord in het Afrikaans dat wij ook kennen?
Vind je die woord amperbroekie?
Ampelbroekie?
Amperbroekie. G-string.
Amperbroekie?
Just breaking the ice, yeah.
Yes. It's funny because every time I hear like an Afrikaans word, it's very to the point.
Yeah, it's literal.
It's very literal.
It's so literal. It's like, oh, of course. Why do we use that word?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
so obvious.
Yeah, like why do we use the word G-string if we can just say amperbroekie?
Yeah, or huisbakkie for elevator.
How do you say?
Huisbakkie.
Huisbakkie.
For
huisbakkie.
Huisbakkie, yeah.
Perfect. Brilliant. I think we should incorporate more Afrikaans words in our...
Yeah, well, that's why I'm here in Belgium.
You can teach us. For the listeners who don't know what RunEasi is, I'll go through what you wrote on LinkedIn in your bio. I translated it from English to Dutch, so I'll do it in Dutch. Bij RunEasi bouwen we aan een toekomst van gezondheid voor hardlopers en atleten. We hebben de missie om hardlopers aan het lopen te houden, zodat ze nooit meer moeten stoppen door een blessure. RunEasi is een universitaire spin-off van de KU Leuven, waarbij het oprichtersteam meer dan 70 jaar gecombineerde domein-expertise heeft. RunEasi is een innovatief loopanalyse-platform. RunEasi sluit de cirkel tussen het uitvoeren van biomechanische analyse tot het voorschrijven van specifieke oefeningen en wordt gebruikt door fysiotherapeuten en trainers en coaches om hun hardlopers te helpen via revalidatie en preventie, waardoor ze krachtiger en veerkrachtiger lopers worden. Klopt dat ongeveer, or does it make sense what I translated?
Yeah.
Can you explain what RunEasi is?
Well, really, at the essence, RunEasi is really, think about our mission, we're really trying to build the future of runners' health through adopting not only an education-based approach, but a technology-based approach, and really mixing those together to further not just the knowledge from the research side, but into practice, to shift the mindset not only from evidence-based, but also towards the individual-based practitioner, and also to disseminate that knowledge downstream, not only to kidneys and sports physiotherapists and sports doctors, but all the way down to the everyday runner, where they finally know what they can do about it, and they can measure in an objective way.
Because I think it's a mystery why people sometimes get an injury, why that kind of injury. A lot of people really don't know a lot of biomechanics, of course. Why would they? And it's something I always, when I was studying my medicine and my orthopedics and my physical rehab lessons, and along the way in the sports medicine also, I was really thinking about how does someone get an injury and what was the mechanism behind it. It's not just like a tendinopathy, or it's not just an overuse injury of that muscle, but why does it happen? Is it that the foot lands in some kind of way that's not ideal for the body, for that muscle? And I think a lot of people struggle with it as well. People that are just running for leisure, a lot of people get injured. I see so many runners in my office with all kinds of different overuse injuries very often.
Yeah.
The RunEasi tool, I have it before me here. It looks, and I already told you, it's very, very light. Can you explain? People that are watching can see it right now. But can you explain how it's, like, how does it look? What does it do? How do you put it on your body? That kind of stuff. Yeah,
sure. So, first of all, where do we put it on the body? And the main place the focused area is really on the becken, so on the pelvis, because the pelvis gives us so many clues about how we're moving, and also allows us to measure at a point where we can see exactly how is the body responding from a force-related perspective. So what's happening? How is the body absorbing, for example, impact forces? So it's close to the body's what we call center of mass as well. So this sensor, essentially, we place it, call it in the middle of what we call the sacrum. So for the physiotherapists out there and that knows your anatomy, it's your sacrum. But it's really in the middle of the pelvis. And that location allows us to capture a more holistic perspective on the biomechanics. You can isolate one metric here or there, but we're able to capture a more 360 kind of view, literally in 3 planes of motion. Able to, for example, and we'll go into the metrics in a bit, and we can evaluate your score and your data. But we tie these specific metrics to what we would call the weakest link. And you ask, like, what is causing injuries or what is related to injuries? And often it's identifying what is the swakste skakel or the weakest link. And for everybody, it's different. It's unique. It's individual. And that's why we say measured or assess, don't guess. But just going back to the actual belt itself, we make sure that it's, on the one hand, there's 2 main criteria. One is that we've got to keep the essence of the preciseness and the accuracy that we get in the biomechanics lab. So in the laboratory, you have precise motion analysis, 3D motion capture and force plates and all that. So we had to make sure that when we put a sensor on the body, that we're still maintaining that level of accuracy, because you can put it on your wrist. What does that information tell you? You can put it on your chest, but at that level, there's no impact left. Your body's already absorbed it all, right? Because it's protecting the spinal cord and the brain. You can put it on the foot, the shin or whatever, but then you don't know how the body or the legs are responding to that either, right? So positioning of the body is very important, and during our PhDs, myself and one of my co-founders, Tim de Beek, and our other co-founders I'll quickly mention them as well, Professor Benedict van Mansjelle and Jesse Davis, the 4 of us, we really our goal and our mission was to rigorously evaluate the best way to get these precise metrics in a way that we are confident that when we go outside and we're measuring an intervention, whether it be a clinical intervention or a performance one, that we're measuring something that's meaningful, a change that's actually meaningful, and not due to measurement error, which can happen so quickly. If you touch the sensor, you see the sensor that's attached to the belt. And we did some validation studies that you put that on, clip it on the shorts or on the pants. Essentially what you're doing is you're measuring the wobble.
The wobble of the pants.
The wobble of the pants. And this sensor, it's essentially an accelerometer. And it picks up, it's so sensitive to the finest changes in movement. So if you're measuring anything, you want to know it's because of the body is moving differently or changing things that are due to musculoskeletal aspect or loading, and not at all got to do with a trivial thing like putting it on improperly or incorrectly and the sensor is not placed. So that's why the design of the belt is like you said, is much lighter than you see from this perspective. You think, oh, this looks quite, the belt looks quite big, but it's really light. And you were earlier as well.
You don't feel it.
You don't feel it, right? And on the back end is this neoprene kind of material.
Exactly.
Which is like wetsuits. It's designed to be skin friendly and comfortable. And I often tell the story of a couple of years back while we were still iterating on prototypes, because we were trying to solve this problem of accuracy, and second of all, this problem of how do you get a runner to want to wear it and feel comfortable wearing something without constricting or giving them pain or anything. And I got a call from one of our beta users it was in our postdoctoral research project when we was testing the prototypes. I was like, good. I hope your sensor is waterproof. It's like, what happened? What exactly? It's like, no. I went on this ultra trail run. It was actually in Heavily Bos in KU Leuven, and he's crazy. I mean, it was so crazy. I mean, he's just an amazing runner. He's built for running hours and hours. And he came in. He came home, and he said, like, I jumped in the shower and I forgot to take the sensor and the belt off, and I hope your sensor's waterproof. And I was like, side note, it is waterproof, but that's okay. But what was really for us motivating was just, okay, we finally found something that not only captures that measurement preciseness, but that a runner is like, okay, I can run hours and hours with this. I don't feel it. Yeah. It's like when you put on and you watch the first day, it's like you can feel it. Yeah. And then subconscious, it just, exactly. It's in your form factor, as they say. Yeah. Yeah. So it has to mold into the form factor because there's all of like the first kind of bottlenecks to capturing data, the data collection process. Before you can get anywhere into the fun stuff and the interpretation, you have to get these things right, and that took a lot of iterations and a lot of help from internal parties and external parties. We had collaborations with OHL Leuven for feedback there, and one of the physiotherapists there from Samuel, and he helped us there as well. And we had a lot of local people that they're giving us different perspectives, and athletes themselves saying, change this or change that. And eventually we came to our first kind of commercial prototype for the belt as such. But by then we already had the accurate data to start building this massive data set of benchmarks and healthy benchmarks, and where the fun stuff starts.
Very cool. Did you validate your RunEasi device that we have here with like in the lab measurements? Did you compare those and
Yeah, exactly. So it's different metrics require different types of validation. If it's movement related, we're looking at the instability of the pelvis, the dynamic stability. So when you land, you have to control your trunk. So wants to wobble, your hips and your becken want to wobble and rotate, and that requires very good stability. And so we measured that from the sensor, and we validated that correlated that against the marker from the 3D motion capture.
Like the golden standard.
The golden standard, exactly. Yeah. Whereas when we're looking at the shock absorption, the impact magnitude that comes through the legs, we validated that against the forces that are in the treadmill. Yeah. So it required different types of validation to get it right, and different speeds and all those things, different populations to make sure we have the most robust algorithms you could think about that. That it works and is accurate, and that you can trust the data.
Because I think right now on the market there's only one of these. Yeah, I think Ontrax is also doing something around that space.
They seem to be entering the space.
Maybe like a competitor of you.
No comment. No, I think they have a very strong research team. If I can make any statement on this, if you want to say, I think the biomechanics team is really strong. They come from a very similar background as us. They also they have a great mission. They have a different approach, very different approach. To some extent, I maybe don't agree with, but I think what they're doing is great. I think the market is massive as well.
Of course.
And I think goes back to a bit of our core, my personal and RunEasi's core values is education and knowledge, and they're also doing a great job at disseminating the importance of impact loading, for example.
Because I think the strength of those kinds of devices, like the RunEasi, is because not everyone has the ability or the money or the people to enter into a lab, to get everything checked, a couple of hours, all the system have to be in place, you have to put all the markers on yourself. With this one, we just did it in the street here in Antwerp. I put it on in 1 minute, I ran for 2 minutes, and we have data. That's for me, that's pretty spectacular. If you don't need a big expensive lab to do
all of that, and I mean, I can tell you how many, embarrassed to say how many days and weeks, and I mean, I loved every minute of it that we spent in the laboratory collecting data, and putting markers on, And it's almost like a rite of passage as a biomechanical researcher, I would say. Anyone that's been in motion science or biomechanics will tell you it's a rite of passage that you have put on markers, you've calibrated the laboratory, you know the ins and outs of how it works, and if the camera's not working, and then the post-processing part. So once you've collected the data, it's like, okay, you got the software and you have to make sure that all the cameras could see the markers. Yeah. Sometimes they lose the vision of the marker, and you have to then what they call fill the gaps. Yeah. And anyone that's been in knows motion science or biomechanics will know that it's a lot of time and focus work to just to get to the end, actually get to the start lines, to start being able to say, well, we have our output metrics now. Can we start doing statistical analysis and things like that? Yeah. And of course, under very controlled laboratory conditions.
Yeah, exactly. So, like when someone is running in a lab, they're running on a treadmill.
Yeah,
it couldn't be farther from the real life experience. Running in the woods, it's up and down, it's unstable. Yeah. So that also is very nice, I think an advantage of the RunEasi. You can just use it anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of brings me back to kind of the point and the philosophy around where we are at a bit of a crossroads in the field, you could say, not just in biomechanics community, but the biomechanics community combined with the clinical community. And I mean, if I ask you, Dr. Gianni, are you an evidence-based clinician?
I would hope so, yeah.
You would hope so, right? Yeah. So thinking like, what does it all mean? And you put your evidence-based thinking cap on.
Yes, yeah.
It's like, imagine I'm a patient in front of you, and I've had consecutive injuries, and I'm so frustrated, maybe even a little bit scared. Yeah. And I just want to get better, and I want to know what my goals are and how can I get there. You immediately sit opposite me, and you think, okay, running injuries, consecutive. Let's put on, like, what are the studies that I know? You know that you'd like to think of yourself as a savvy, up-to-date, research-driven clinician. Mm-hmm. You read, I mean, maybe you have like an alert to PubMed and Google Scholar, and you subscribe to updates for summaries or latest research papers, and you're like, okay, I find myself quite up to date on that. Then you start going through the different studies in your mind. Okay, the one study, there was a group of bachelor students, maybe sedentary, but it was a good study. But this patient, she's a master's level competitive runner. I couldn't use that one. Yeah. But the other study that looked at this type of injury was in high elite marathon runners. And you're thinking, does it apply more performance-based? I can't use that one either. And then you start thinking, well, I use research to guide my thinking, but there's a patient in front of me, and does she meet the mold? You know, and research studies are, by definition, have to define certain inclusion-exclusion criteria. That's just how it is. So we have these interventions, and we try our best to disseminate those knowledge points. But when you have a patient in front of you, and they're representing maybe 2 or 3 injuries, maybe currently have like a patellofemoral knee pain, but 3 months before that they had an ankle sprain on the other side, and so and you'll never see that in a research study. They will say, "Wait a minute, all participants in the last 6 months had no injury." Yeah. So what does that mean?
Like an exclusion criteria is like you can't have an injury in the last couple of months.
Yeah, and if you measure the biomechanics there as well, it's like, okay, is it the chicken or the egg story?
Yeah.
You know, is it a compensation to the injury, or is it something that initially was a risk factor that caused the injury? And you mentioned earlier about multifactorial and all the different things that can do it. So it's really hard there to say like, okay, I'm strictly an evidence-based clinician. And that's where we see that's the one axis, and then the other axis is where we're seeing the individual-based medicine coming in more and more, because we have high-resolution tools like RunEasi that enable us to measure quantifiable data points at different time points and establish baseline, whether they started off being injured or through rehabilitation and getting better, or coming in when they're healthy and everything's going good, you could say. Thinking things are going good, training for the Antwerp's 10 mile.
Oh yes, I saw a lot of people the last couple of weeks.
I'm sure the streets are littered with people like suddenly realizing, I've got to suddenly increase my mileage because I don't want to I don't want to start the run thinking I haven't really trained at anything at all, and 0 to hero, and then 0 to 0 with an injury, right?
Exactly.
And then they end up in our offices again. Yeah. So it's about also being able to measure at the right time point. So you build this evolutionary passport of history, so you can learn from when we're doing it. When am I more likely to start getting pains, and what's really causing it, and then you can learn from it from a behavioral change perspective as well.
I think the wonderful thing about these kinds of devices is that you have some data from before or from after the injury, which helps us as clinicians, because we see a patient comes in for 15 minutes, we do some checkups. Most of it is static, sometimes some dynamic checkups.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like in 15 minutes, you have to make your diagnosis. You have to give the treatment.
Tijd is voorbij.
Time's over.
Time's over. That's it. That you got. That's all you got.
And I mean, like, what do you know in 15 minutes of checking up on someone that's going to your office with an injury? You're not even checking how they are running. You can't see them run most of the time.
Yeah.
So with this gives us this is like a magic wand, and gives you the full movie of how it happens.
Yeah. I like that. I love that analogy. Actually, you can have snapshots where you can have, say up until now you would have to go to the research lab to do a full high resolution biomechanical analysis to get some insights, which would also take you maybe a few days or a week to get the report and then learn from it. That's a snapshot. That's like a picture that's been taken. And now with being able to monitor or be able to assess at more time points, not necessarily monitoring, I think a lot gets lost, context gets lost when you're thinking of measuring every single session or things like that, although we hit it in that direction. It's about knowing the why behind the data as well, and establishing context, the different multifactorial factors behind it, so that you have that movie effect where you can really see, okay. I mean, I actually brought along one of these case studies here. This was an example over a couple of sessions. Evolution of a runner that was actually using it through one of our practitioners, our RunEasi experts, Jeroen Bale. And he's using RunEasi in a remote rehabilitation sense and return to running. And there you see the overall running quality and different metrics, start to progress over the easy runs as she's getting better. Returning from a hamstring injury, which he got while actually doing a recommended hamstring exercise.
So Nordic hamstring.
I don't know which one it was exactly, but sometimes we also we overdo it. But here you can see in the sense where we're shifting the whole paradigm from treatment, like say you're 15 minutes to figure out what's going on and treat towards we're still empowering the physiotherapist, because they're at the core. They are the experts, and we're only one puzzle piece that helps them get more information of the outcome measures when the patient's at home training using the device in a remote setting, but also helping one of the main challenges of physical therapy, which is adherence. Right? Yes. People, when I used to practice as a sports physiotherapist in South Africa, I used to be so dedicated towards creating home programs. Yeah. And some people would just really love it, and then sometimes they would come back after a few weeks, and then, how was the program? I think it was okay. And they opened up their bag, and they're like, the envelope is still sealed. And you're like, oh my goodness. It's so hard, and it's not their fault. It's just the environment is not good for establishing good habits and remote care. And this enables the connection and the communication, which is just a really powerful thing to have, being able to communicate remotely with your health practitioner. Yeah,
it's so important. Adherence. Yeah, it's so important. Yeah. I once read a study somewhere that I think only half of the people that get prescribed even just medication, which is pretty easy, you just eat it.
You don't have to think, right?
You don't have to train for half an hour, or
just
don't have to follow.
Pop the pill.
Pop the pill. I think only like 50% get the pill, and then get the pill from the pharmacy,
Oh, really?
And then who knows how many people take it.
Too much effort.
Too much effort. Also, once read a study, this is completely off topic, but I think the adherence for your pet, like your dog, your cat, you're almost 100%. So we care more about our pets than ourselves.
Oh my goodness.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, I think we also have these automatic things like you can also provide like your pets. You make sure that they...
Yeah, there's a couple of companies doing it.
Yeah, brings in the whole psychology aspect to it. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, do you love your pet more than yourself? Probably, yeah.
Probably, but yeah.
Anyway, enough about pets. Let's get into the meat of the RunEasi. What kind of metrics does RunEasi track?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we're really looking at quality metrics. We call running quality metrics. And what does that really mean? On the one hand, so that's the first principle of what we're measuring. The second one is we're measuring things that support or things that you can't measure with the naked eye. So the blote oog. We say we don't want to provide you with things that a trained expert can see, right? But we do want to, that's the third value, is that we want to provide standardized metrics. Because if you're providing a biomechanical analysis or a gait analysis, and it's you and me and maybe a couple other people lined up one by one, and we evaluate someone running on the treadmill in front of us, chances are really high that we're all going to spot completely different things.
Wow, okay.
You know, you might spot there's a trunk lean on this side, you write that down. Like, that means we need to fix that compensation in the left glute maybe, or maybe some stretching over there. I might say, she's landing more in the midfoot or the forefoot. I mean, but on one side it's compensating a bit more or rotating a bit more. It just we get lost in the weeds very, very quickly, and it's very hard to quantify and to measure improvements, or even call your own bluff and say, well, something is going worse, we need to address that, right? Mm-hmm. So we start with those type of principles of what we're measuring, and then the last principle is really, like we mentioned earlier, is a holistic perspective. Not only what's happening, say, in the vertical direction and how we absorb that impact, but looking like how do we compensate from side to side, because some of our research studies that we published at KU Leuven and during my PhD, we found that a very, very early cue to understanding when we start to fatigue biomechanically is when you lose control over your hips and your trunk. You start to really, wobble, literally wobble around. And it starts off as such a small, sensitive change that you would never be able to pick up with your eyes. Maybe sometimes you might see people running, you'll see now down the street, and if it's towards the end of the run, then you will start noticing these gross abnormalities and side to side swinging, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're headed. They're going to be in my clinic next week. You should hand off my business. Give
them a card.
Give them a card.
The finish line.
But we want the early onset of that. We want to prevent, ideally, from progressing to that state. Like the analogy of the canary in the mines, and how they use the canaries to sing when they would sing, and when they stop singing, we know that there's something might happen, the mine might collapse. Let's get out of here. So that's the analogy we're looking at. So we're looking at high resolution, high sensitive metrics that give you a profile. And for the fun of it, we'll break down and unpack your data.
Analyze me.
We'll analyze you non-discreetly. Maybe let's just recap what do we do. So we strapped on the RunEasi belt, and we hit biofeedback. Normally we would say a remote session, because I would say if you were the patient, I would say go do your run and come back, or I would come out briefly and also maybe film you just so I have some context. But I did biofeedback and I ran next to you, so we could chat a bit more and discuss today. And so what we actually ended up seeing is immediately we get like a amalgamation or a summary of all your components together, your running quality score, which is 81. And it's on a range from 0 to 100. So you would be pleased to know that your overall running quality is actually pretty good for more of a cyclist at the moment, right?
Yeah, if I can call myself that, even more like a lifter.
Yeah. What this would suggest already is that if you were to undertake a sudden goal of training for something, that you would probably already be pretty biomechanically you'd be prepared. Without, you still need to gradually improve, but you already got a very good score, right? And your strongest link is, I would say, we look at the dynamic stability and impact loading. They're both in the green. So normally it's to be one of those two are the core. But we see your weakest link is actually your symmetry. Mm-hmm. So you see that's highlighted in the orange. So we designed actually this layer purely for what we're doing now. This visual as a communication tool for the patient and to help the physiotherapist and the clinician to explain it to the patient. Because what we realized is that you can have, I'll quickly go into that expert view. Numbers. I see a lot of numbers. You see a lot of numbers, right? And this is how we started. When we launched out, we had an idea of first let's get the metrics out, but then we gathered so much feedback from our community of experts and physiotherapists and clinicians, and they're saying that look, we need to learn how to disseminate this information into a way that's intuitive, that's digestible, that leaves the patient walking away with one thing that they know they need to improve and how to do that. So, for example, we identified you have an asymmetry, and what does that mean? Actually, we see there's a 10% asymmetry towards your left leg in your dynamic stability. So you're more unstable essentially on your left leg. Okay. And so just that on its own can give us some indication like, okay, we need to find a way to correct that imbalance, or first at least identify what could be causing that. And I think you mentioned something about you were hiking in Finland. Did you go for it?
I got a knee injury. I don't really know how it happened, but I told you I think I was searching for something in the tent, sitting on my knees, and then afterwards we started hiking, and then it came.
Suddenly.
Swollen. Yeah, I didn't feel anything. Swollen knee, completely locked up. Couldn't walk anymore for a couple of days. I really had to push through the pain to get back to the car. I was dying. But anyway, I took some ibuprofen. Was better, but not right now. It's been a long time since I've run, but when I ran 20 to 30 minutes, it started again. Swollen knee, painful knee.
Yeah.
So I should get an MRI scan.
So if you want to go into the deep level like that, MRI, or you have something non-invasive, non-invasive, but dynamic, where you here we identify your asymmetry, which would indicate indeed that we're detecting that asymmetry, which mean that something is causing this, and that if you aren't addressing this in some way, that it's probable that after cumulative amount of running steps that you're going to run into something more severe, or it's going to trigger that pain again. So it's detecting that something's still there, even that right now while you ran, and it was a 1 minute run.
Exactly.
You're not fatigued. You didn't feel any pain. Asymptomatic. But we're picking up on a very low radar already that there's something there.
And is this, or it's the dynamic stability that's low, right? Or is it?
Because if you look at the asymmetry in your impact and your impact duration, which is how quickly that impact travels through the legs, versus the impact magnitude, which is how much impact is being absorbed by the legs. Okay. If you see there, the asymmetry is 2% and 1%. So you're absorbing the impact pretty well, actually, with both legs. So you got quite good symmetry there. But how your stability, how unstable you are on one leg is already 10%.
And could this be the reason of the injury, or could this also be a downstream thing because of the knee pain?
The chicken and egg question. Yeah. So right now, with one-off assessment, it could be one of either. Especially because now, we know that in the running itself, you're asymptomatic. So what this could be hinting towards now is that this is more of a risk factor.
Yes.
Right? It's always trying to understand. It's a timing issue. It's a timing thing, compensation pattern and pain, and which one comes first. We often see this in outdoor sessions. If you look over the trends of a 30-minute or even an hour, and then you might see that, they said, I start complaining of pain at 30 minutes. And sometimes you'll see in the data that it was only after 40 or 50 minutes that they started to show asymmetries like this. Then the pain caused what we call antalgic gait. So you compensate, you change the way you shift, your body naturally, subconsciously changes the way you run as a compensation to the pain. Then we need to fix what's causing the pain. More that kind of line of thinking. Whereas if there's still 30 minutes they feel pain, but you start seeing this creeping, so insidiously, this gradual instability is getting worse and worse on that one leg. prior to the 30 minutes, then you would infer or have the idea that this is more of a risk factor, and you need to fix this, and you need to start chasing this improvements.
Very interesting. Yeah. And so you track dynamic stability, impact magnitude, impact duration. Also ground contact. Cadence. Flight ratio. Any other things? Or those are the, I think, 6, right?
Those are the 6 things. So, I mean, 6 things.
It's a lot already.
It's already a lot to digest. And if you have 1 minute to do an assessment, you could technically have a lot more measures if you wanted to. But we really distilled it into the most crucial, essential metrics, quality-based metrics, you could say. Actually, these top ones here, the stability, the impact, magnitude, and duration, are the ones that really give us the most knowledge on how to move the needle, and also give us information really on how the body's responding, because you can have ground contact time. I mean, there's commercial wearables out there that give you ground contact time as well. The thing there is that it's so insensitive to detecting when things are going wrong. For example, to get a ground contact time asymmetry of like even 3% requires a significant amount of things going wrong. Like you need a lot of pain to really be offloading, well, not say offloading, but really spending a lot shorter time. Like imagine you step on a nail, long one side, that's the image, So it takes a lot to see big changes. When we see instability, the smallest pathology change or injury-related thing, or just starting to develop like an ache or can reflect already in these type of things, or a weakness, say, in stabilizing muscles,
And then after the data capture that you've done with the band and with the RunEasi tool, does it give you, like from the platform itself, any recommendations or advice, or is it something that the physiotherapist or the patient has to figure out?
So when we began and we first launched, it was initially figure it out, but we're here to support you. As we're here to learn from each other. That was the first mission, because we had a lot of ways of inferring it, but finding a framework we had to be developed, and it took time to develop that. And we got a lot of good case studies and physiotherapists, not only in Belgium and Flanders. When we think about, we have experts like Bart Dingenen, we have experts in the US from Jay Dishery and Chris Johnson, and they all have their own specialities. And all their inputs really helped us to come up with a framework, as well as we were onboarded with Philip Kortvriend. He's a physiotherapist as well, and also a national runner of Belgium. He's top 10 middle distance or 1500. He's been our in-house running expert, and he's the magician with the data. He really is. How he sees the patterns, and he's also our customer success manager at RunEasi, who listens and absorbs all the different cases and starts doing. And together we built this framework, which basically says, here's your profile. Each person's profile is different, and each combination can be different. What can we do with this data? And together we sat down and we kind of mapped out a way to come with an automatic report on, this you can go make a PDF. But it's a summary here that is completely tailored or hyper-personalized to your profile and links it to the type of intervention that is needed, that specific muscle groups, why is it important? If we read it out here, for example, it'll say we detected, so this is based on your data, right? A low instability on your left leg. So we already put it into words automatically. We recommend working on left versus right stability imbalances to make you more efficient and resilient runner, to remind the runner and patients, we want to build up your resilience. Here say perform a combination of running specific stability exercises to enhance your ability to stabilize while running. So it's just like educating on what's the goal actually. So you see this profile, you see your symmetry is out now. Before you get a heart attack or start to have the shock factor, it's really to provide a starting point for them to start processing the information, educating them on what does it all mean. And when you export this as a PDF, there's a link to specific exercises, and
okay.
we're very excited to. We're on the verge of one of our exciting things on our roadmap that we're launching, that will really provide automatic exercises and hyper-personalized exercises based on your profile. So essentially, a runner can't do much with this information. But what they can do about it is the strengthening exercises, and that is linked to the practitioner. The practitioner will use these guidelines to suggest the right exercises. And any runner out there will say, like, look, I'm starting to. It used to be a myth that runners should never do strength training, but the research is getting clearer and clearer that it's really important. They should, right? So strength training is important, but still fitting it into a busy life. Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I don't have to do my exercises. So focusing on the right exercises and not just saying, well, we try every generic exercise that could help me as a runner. Yeah. But if you're great at absorbing the impact.
So I don't have to strengthen the.
I wouldn't say you don't have to, but you don't have to prioritize exercises that help you to absorb impact better. From squats to lunges to dynamic jumps to even plyometrics, because we see that your impact magnitude, I think it was. The expert center, you see the impact magnitude. It's also in the green. Impact duration, how quickly you absorb the impact. So you absorb it really over a long period. You're able to slow down the absorption of that impact, which means that your kinetic chain or your different joints are working together very efficiently.
Okay.
And so you don't have to train that. Normally, you see in runners where that's in the orange or the red.
And so when it's bad, the impact duration gets shorter. So the load is compressed over a very short duration of time.
Yeah. So if you think about the concept of load versus duration, if you combine that, it's the loading rate. And often it's the rate of loading. Is, you can have a heavy object come down really slowly, and you can prepare for it. But if it comes down really fast,
like a SpaceX,
like a SpaceX rocket,
sometimes it comes down very quickly and bursts.
That defines the explosion size.
It's a good story, or like a good metaphor for it.
So that's why it's important to measure both elements, because if you only look at the impact magnitude, you might say, oh yeah, I can absorb it pretty well. I'm able to tolerate or absorb these high impacts, or make them low through absorbing it. But here you can slow them down. The ketting, as we say, the kinetic ketting is well oiled. It's working together, and we see this especially towards higher elite runners as well.
This result you see in elite runners.
Just to stroke your ego.
You said it.
I mean. But really, we see we measure some of Belgium's Olympians as well that went to Tokyo as well. And we see that in that population that they especially are able to delay that impact really well. And it's almost, we hypothesize, and that's the thing with this data now, is that we're generating new hypotheses at an absurd rate. It's normally a case study would be like one small stack of a scientific congress. Most of the big interventions, and then where there's a case study, it's like pilot data, and it's a small thing.
Very narrow, one metric.
One metric, very narrow. But we see now with so many case studies being generated that there's just so many new hypotheses being generated. But the literature seems to indicate that it also means that you're able to reutilize the energy very well if you have a longer ground contact time. So you're not wasting energy. But you're able to be more economical as a runner. So not just on an injury prevention space.
Can you use it for performance enhancement? You already said that you work with, or maybe you said it before the podcast. Maybe I don't. Can I talk about it?
Yeah, sure.
I think you connected with the Red Falcons. The 400-meter running team. Right.
The 4x100.
4x100. And do you help them with their performance, or is it more so prevention of injury?
It's a bit of a mix, but it's more on the performance side. We're really looking at optimizing efficiency and looking for improvements that we can see. For example, so often you don't want. There's two schools of thought actually. So let's just maybe take a step back. There's a school of thought that you should never change your running technique if it ain't broken, right? So it's everybody has an individual running style. Everybody, which is unique to you, unique to your body morphology, anthropometrics, your size, and that you've self-optimized through all your years of training, and that is why you became the best. The good example is they did a study on Usain Bolt, and they found that he was more asymmetrical than other sprinters. So you think like, would correcting his asymmetries make him a better sprinter or not? It's a big debate. But there's other school of thought exactly on that level, is that if we identify inefficiencies, that if you have the good way of monitoring it and understanding it, where is it coming from, that small, the most insignificant tweaks in how you change your running pattern can improve these output metrics on being more efficient. You can think of the other debate is things like impact. In a performance setting, let's put it in this way: in a sprinting setting, higher force is a KPI, is a key performance indicator of being a better runner. So there, you don't want to say, well, let's minimize your impact. For injury risk.
Sport specific,
So it becomes very sport specific. It becomes very goal orientated. Sprinting is an entirely, I would say, even completely different sport, mechanically, physiologically. It makes us really rethink what biomechanics is applicable and how do we want to use it. And it's a continuous learning process.
Cool. Is the RunEasi tool designed only for the physiotherapist to help their patient, or can some savvy patient who's into biomechanics do it themselves?
Yeah, good question. So I think, how we went about it, and we really thought, okay, we're bringing these novel metrics into the public domain, and in a setting where, there's this bridge to cross between using the data and making sense of it and doing something with the data. And when we were starting to launch a few years ago, among several other reasons, we decided to go first towards the physical therapy community, as they're the ones that are the primary user, the clinician. The reason being there is they see the context of all the other parts, the moving parts, the history of the patient. They can connect the dots. You've got to connect the dots. And if we were to, at that point, go straight to a consumer or a everyday run on the street, and then we did these experiments as well, and say, well, so what? What do I do? What can I do with this data? That was a few years ago. Today is a very different story in terms of our progress as well, is because we built this framework that enables us to go that extra step towards what do we recommend from the data. The size of our data pool is enormous. The thousands of new athletes that come through, and runners and patients, and how we're working with that data, and what does it link to specific injuries and specific populations. We're also seeing a rise in, for example, the so-called fourth trimester of postpartum runners, women's health, pelvic health. We're seeing specific benchmarks coming out there. A lot of application into different areas. But where we are really now is at this kind of precipice of disseminating it to the end user so that they have their own belt and their own sensor. It's a model which will never exclude the clinicians and experts. We want to actually make them maintain their expertise so that at the end of the day, they can provide all the other levels of important services to the end runner, to reassure them that this is indeed something to pay attention to provide the support or the context, to still provide the guidance, and even if it's in a virtual setting. We have a lot of customers now that are really pushing the boundaries and envelope on the possibilities of virtual care. Doing a virtual session and all that stuff, and we're adding a very, I think, important quantifiable step to that allows the practitioner to really know what's going on at home, you could say. Is the patient really doing their
Yeah, it would be a very interesting world, I think, to have all my runners have this and then just connect to me. And then when they have any problem, or when the tool picks it up, to really snap into gear, even if they don't have any problem yet.
Yeah,
It would be a very interesting. I think I don't know how many people are that biomechanically savvy, but they don't really have to be, because the system really provides every explanation and the recommendations also.
Exactly. So, which brings me back to our education mindset. We do a lot of courses, not only online courses, but we do full day, 2-day workshops, accredited, in fact. And I think we're maybe one of the only kind of industry, commercial, we're industry-based companies that are allowed to give these accredited workshops, because we approach it purely from
scientific background,
and the primary intent is education.
Yeah.
And any downstream sale or thing that comes from that, great. If they're interested and they see the high resolution tool as RunEasi as something that is an added value to their practice, that's great. But the principles and the data and the information that we reveal and we explain and transfer into exercises, and to show that these are the exercises you can do if you have an unstable patient or a high impact patient. There's still so much that they can learn without having the tool. But of course, at the end of the day, when they have the tool, it makes their lives a lot easier and convenient, and reassures them that their intervention that they're giving is on the right, is moving the needle in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. Because that is also a very, very important note that you say there. Yeah, we give our people exercises, and then rehab is over. See you. Bye, and maybe see you again when you're getting injured again.
Yeah.
But now you can just track how they are doing, and how you can also track the rehab itself. Yeah. And then after they are done with the rehab, you can even remotely see they're going back down again.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And that's where it becomes like this, keep on toggling, switching between rehab and prevention, actually. But still, the clinician is very much involved in that. It's just changing changing towards exercise as medicine approach, rather than let's fix it the whole time. Let's fix it when it's too late. And there we're really aligning with the long-term goals of the patient and the athlete, and keeping them as much as we can as injury-free, so that they not only can make the start line of their marathon or their 10 miles, but complete it without having a whole week afterwards to hop, that they're dead, and that they're like, I only want to work remote this week because I can't even walk to my car because my legs are so much in pain.
Yeah, good. I'm just thinking about a world where everyone has a RunEasi right now. Looks nice. Are there any other? This maybe is a question that's not really or not really top of mind for you right now. But do you have other products in the pipeline or something, or?
We do.
Or do you have your hands full with this one?
We have our hands very full. That maybe links to the business side of it. But we are essentially a tech company. Our philosophy is in R&D and in continuously updating the product and putting new things in it. And I must say, in the beginning it was like, whoa, how do we distill what is important, what is valuable, what is relevant, what's meaningful for the industry and for what they need. And recently we just brought on a new data scientist and algorithm engineers to help us really scale a whole new product line as well. And we have some exciting things in the pipeline. To the extent that I can say, for example, think about team sports. Mm-hmm. Think about being able to measure the quality of one's jumping. Mm-hmm. Landing requires, not only, again, impact absorption, but the stability. Think about a single leg hop or that type of thing. And then combining that with performance-based metrics, so, the jump height and all those things like that. So those are one thing we've looked at. Also, like the work we're doing with, for example, the Red Lions. Mm-hmm. We work on two different ways. One is the typical running rehabilitation, but the other one is screening athletes in, these 30 to 40 meter sprints decelerations, change of directions, and we're getting closer and closer to bringing out something that's really exciting on that front. We had and we still are working quite nicely with, for example, Bartingen on that kind of return to play ACL rehab angle as well, not only in the prevention side, but think about a football player coming back after an ACL tear. They're a very critical phase of the return to performance is, can you clear a good running, you have a good return to running ability.
Because there are a few metrics that people after an ACL or what some physicians or physiotherapists measure after an ACL rupture. But even then, when they're very well rehabbed, I think 30% tear them again.
Yeah, the recurrence rate is ridiculous.
So there's a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah, I mean, that's why there's every year the Football Medicine Congress, the FIFA one. ACL. I mean, and every year there's a mind-blowing amount of new research that's showing cool stuff. Changing so fast, but still so much to learn. And the more we can start measuring, taking out the guesswork on that phase of it, so having that high resolution ability to know how well are they braking during a deceleration, as close to the sport specificity you mentioned earlier as possible, because you can run, but the moment you have that opponent in front of you and you have a split second to sidestep or to suddenly hit the brakes, that requires a demand on the musculoskeletal system that's like through the roof, and we see the impacts and the braking forces are so high, which also makes it more difficult for us to know where, what's happening, especially when people are doing these very quick steps. So that's where the R&D process for us is quite important, that we still have the accuracy on knowing left, right, and getting these things correct. And so those are some exciting things in the pipeline.
One other thing that's, I think, a very big advantage of RunEasi is the amount of data that you capture. I follow Tesla a little bit. You know Tesla?
Elon Musk is also South African.
It's true. Yeah, and they have, of course, they have their AI division with their self-driving. I think it's version 14 right now. Version 1 was very bad. Version 14 is
less bad.
I saw some videos and they're going around the streets in America pretty easily right now, so that's very nice. But I think one other thing that's very important is they have captured so many data. They even capture the data from the cars not using the full self-driving. So when I drive my car, it just captures it without using the full self-driving. And due to that, with that amount of data, they can use it for other things, not even driving, because they see so much that the car is like a vehicle for the real life other stuff that they can treat or make products out of.
So many new capabilities.
Exactly. And I think maybe the same can be said for RunEasi.
I mean, what's happened, for example, I mean, in the beginning we knew that this was a potential use case, but we see, for example, the ability to choose the right running shoe based on the data. We have now a handful of specialized running shoe stores in multiple countries that are using RunEasi as a way to really improve the experience in a more evidence-based, individual-based way for ideal shoe selection. So the old paradigm of we sell whatever's in the back in the back cupboard because we have certain sponsorships from certain sales incentives, that's kind of like gradually coming out of this, and now towards we start ordering shoes that are showing results with the people, with the actual public, because they typically what they do is the person comes into the store and then they put on the RunEasi belt, they run 30 seconds to 1 minute. That's all they need in a pair of shoes, and they quickly try another one. They can try 3 or 4,
and you can see the difference.
And you can see the difference. You see the ranking, and
cool.
For some people there's no difference. It's like, okay,
whatever. Yeah.
Then I go with what looks the prettiest.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
And most of us still like to buy, of course. Of course, why not,
The
right?
flashy yellow shoes. Yeah.
Flashy is the most important criteria.
You have to be seen.
You have to be seen running.
Otherwise, it didn't happen.
Otherwise, it didn't happen.
See, but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things that you probably don't think about before making this. And now you see a lot of possibilities. Just the amount of data that you guys capture will probably in the coming months or years will be much larger than what has previously been captured all those 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's the hope.
Even now, I mean, it's frightening to think. We collected a lot of data. I thought during my PhD. I mean, like I said, lots of time in the lab. And also, if you look at all the literature in the last 10 to 20 years, there's a lot of studies that have come out, and especially in the last 5 years, it's ramping up.
Yeah.
The amount of data we're collecting on a daily basis. Yeah, passively through all the running analysis going on. And remember, it's not just one step. In most biomechanical studies that were done on a force plate in a laboratory where, if I was the researcher and you were the participant, I would say, Johnny, can you stand in that corner and then run across the laboratory? And I'm not going to tell you that there's a force plate there because you can't shorten your step.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So we're going to have a smiley face on the end of the passage so that you keep looking there. And I'm not going to tell you why you need to do this for the 20th time because you keep on missing the force plate.
Because you ran a bit slight to the left of it.
Yeah, you ran. Oh no! And then you look at one from one research to the other, and you look at each other like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a long day.
Again,
this is an overstrider. This is a guy with long legs, and he keeps on missing the force plate, and we cannot tell him about the force plate.
Otherwise, the data will.
Yeah, the data is corrupt basically because then suddenly you have normal. You can see it, and then and then suddenly hopping onto the step, and then that's one recorded step. Yeah. With RunEasi, we're recording every single step. So the volume there allows you to have big sample size, meaning more reliability on data with numbers, right? Basically, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah,
very cool. You started RunEasi with 3 other people, right? 3 other co-founders.
Yeah.
You all have your own expertise, but how is it to start a company with 4 people in total? I would imagine it can give a lot of strength, but also some downsides. How did you find it?
It was what an experience. I mean, I can tell you the last. Actually, before RunEasi started, it was what we call a valorization project at the KU Leuven. And I think there's an important distinction to make. First of all, you have the typical tech startup, Silicon Valley kind of mentality. Bootstrap, and then raise huge VC money and accelerate straight from the beginning, and then have something and if fail fast, and then that's it, and move on. Yeah. And around about the time we started, there were other companies that entered the same space, and they disappeared. One by one, they disappeared for lots of different reasons. But then you have the different type of startup, tech startup, which is really a spin-off.
Yeah.
An academic spin-off. And when we wanted to pitch the idea to LRT, KU Leuven LRT, they were like, okay, great, but come to us with a business plan, and how are we going to valorize this, and how are we going to monetize this, and what industry use is there going to be from the research, and how applicable it is. And we had 2 years, and what was, I think, a real blessing was that we had, it was a project, not just for an individual, because you also get these individual mandates that allow a researcher to pursue their the valorization trajectory to create something. But they're essentially on their own. They have mentors and supervisors, but it's on their own. We were very fortunate to be under this umbrella of an internal project of KU Leuven. And there were 4 of us, 2 PIs, 2 professors. One was my direct promoter, Professor Van Zielen, in biomechanics. So we have the same or similar line of expertise. And then the other 2 co-founders were from a different department in computer sciences. but in the sports data analytics, and Professor Jesse Davis was my co-promoter. He was the third co-founder, and he, for example, he's also making groundbreaking research at the moment in football and predicting what is which players are creating the best opportunities, like Kevin De Bruyne, and through AI predicting which players create, are the most creative and are creating the most opportunities. Defining or predicting scoring goals is really hard because it's such a low number game. Yeah. But what you can do is
the opportunities of scoring.
The opportunities of scoring you can predict, and you want to, that's a KPI that's interesting.
And just a side note, does he use it for like scouting upcoming players or?
I'm not sure exactly, but it's more from a research side, but they have collaborations in the industry as well. And he was recently also interviewed in SBN and all that stuff. So
cool.
It's
I'll
really
check
cool.
it out. Maybe for the podcast.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I'll
is he a Belgian or is he a South African?
He's actually American.
American.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll say our co-founding team is quite diverse.
Diverse. Yeah. Cool.
And he's a third co-founder, and he's a board member of RunEasi as well, and provides, he also has, some American also business background as well, you could say, provides us with some good strategy. And then the fourth co-founder is Tim Op de Beek, who, over the many years of us working together through our PhDs, he did his PhD in data science and machine learning. And when we were put together by the professors in the beginning, like, make something, let's find a good research study to do, collect data. We need to collect data. Yeah. And we did lots of pilots together and spent lots of days on the track. And I think even, I remember Tim in the middle of the winter doing, putting sensors on the body. And back then we still didn't know where to put the sensor. Was it the best place on the back, or was it on the feet? You put like 10 sensors, and we would have one after the next runner coming in at the sport court in the track, the egg-shaped track in Leuven.
I've never been there.
Yeah, it's actually a fun fact. It's not like a perfect oval, you could say. It's actually more like an egg.
So it's designed badly.
I don't know if we had to say it like that, but I don't think it's accredited to for IWF standards or whatever. Okay. But that's used for training. It's good for training curves.
Training the turns.
But we really had a convenient place to collect a lot of data and learn a lot of mistakes from machine learning. We wanted to predict fatigue and that. And in the beginning, we realized, okay, wrong data. Try again. Not enough data. And eventually, over the 4 years, we got it right. And all those hours spending together collecting data and interacting with the people that were in the study and being like super interested in like the most smallest data point and the most ugliest graph that we would send them through like our exported research program gave us like little bit by little bit like this little bits of insights and it's not there was no light bulb moment for starting the company. It was like it just kept gradually be like, wait, there's more and more pool coming from this, and we couldn't think of a more like I'm going to be kind of boasting here, but we couldn't be more well positioned to be able to solve this problem. We don't know how our athletes are responding to training in an outdoor environment. We measure things precisely, and through all the years of research, we think, we're actually quite well positioned for this. And back of my mind, I've always had an entrepreneurial kind of fire in my belly, but also on the other hand, very conservative. I like to make sure that first I'm an expert in something before I'm going to take the leap. And I wouldn't say I'm a garage inventor that wants to come up with an entrepreneurial thing like that, but it is more, can we bring something based on what we know, even if we start small, that can make an impact in the running world and that type of thing. And so those are the 4 co-founders, and over those 2 years, we had really great experiences and some tough decisions as well, and about which direction we want to head. And often it was about what do we need to say no to, and scratching off all the different capabilities and what do we want to focus on. While at the same time, building something that would be a presentable business plan to having investors, because we still needed capital to start the company that would show that we have a big enough market size, that we have the right talent in the team to be able to capture that market, and to be able to, that we have the right strategy and the finances and the models and the unit economics and all that stuff was corrected. So it was, a journey, a real journey. And
for someone coming from a science background, how is it to also get to dive deep into the business side of business?
It's awesome.
Awesome, yeah.
It's awesome also because it's so closely linked. We're so fortunate that it's so closely linked to our passions and our research. Yeah. It was there wasn't a big leap into we going into uncharted territory. We don't really know, for example, even if we were to say we wanted to start in cycling. Yeah. We know there's biomechanics and different types of movement patterns, but we had never measured it before. Yeah, we would have to, you need the validation studies and all that to go straight away to be able to do it. So we had built this very deep foundation of knowledge in running specifically. We said, okay, this is a no-brainer. We can do it. And then we needed some business expertise to help, kind of as a catalyst to get there and learn some entrepreneurial things, and that was a real journey, and I can say it's
a roller coaster.
Roller coaster, absolutely. And maybe just one thing to mention there is to, I think the team, the whole RunEasi team has demonstrated so much resilience, because we raised our first capital round during the first lockdown,
2020,
March 2020. Oof. Yeah, and we were at the final rounds of the committees of the investors, investing funds, and they were starting to get a little agitated because, hey, like COVID, is this something to stay? It's like everyone. That was when everyone was freaking out, like, what is this? And
this is the time where everyone was thinking, okay, the next 10 years we're just locked down. Yeah, but that was the idea back then.
Yeah, and our go-to-market plan was, in practice, physical therapists, but no one was allowed to go in practice anymore. No one was even allowed to go to the gym.
Exactly. Yeah.
And while that was unfolding, we saw the stats coming out through Strava. For example, you can see this. They brought out a really cool report about the participation numbers in running since this lockdown started.
It boomed. Yeah.
And we're like, here's our market.
You're like, yes, for COVID.
Yes, so many more people getting injuries. we have a market to fix. We have a problem to solve. It's just funny.
You took the bad with the good.
We took the bad with the good, and there was a quote. I remember there was a quote that we used in our pitch deck there, and I think it was from Winston Churchill that said, "Never waste a good crisis."
Exactly. And that's a good one. I was thinking about. Do you know Johan Cruyff, the footballer from Holland? Yeah. He said in his own dialect, "Elk nadeel heeft zijn voordeel."
Yeah,
every bad thing has a good thing.
Yes. I love that mentality. And when one door closes, at the moment you think that's it, and then suddenly the next door opens. You're like, why did I even care about that first door? I didn't want that first door.
Yeah, exactly. Why was I worrying about it?
Yeah.
Do you do any kind of sports yourself?
I do various things, but limited to where I am at the moment. But typically, I'm a surfer actually, but I go back to South Africa regularly for.
Not here in the North Sea.
Not in the North Sea. I think we were discussing earlier. It's something you try once and
never again.
Never again.
I think we both had one experience of surfing in the North Sea.
Yeah, I think I bought the most thickest wetsuit you can ever imagine and convinced myself that I'll be in the North Sea regularly. And I think I paddle out. We paddle out with my research colleague. I remember the day we paddled out, and the wind was so strong it blew us, I think, at least 1.5 kilometers down, and we were like, and we had to walk against the wind on the way up.
It's horrible. I did it when I was 9 or something, or 10. My parents have a shoe shop, and do you know O'Neill? Yeah, probably you know O'Neill. Yeah. We sold O'Neill shoes back then, and then they invited us to come to the North Sea, me and my cousin. We were 10 or something, and we put on our little wetsuits. We got into the North Sea, and I was like, after 1 minute, I was like, I'm going out.
What is this? What is this?
So no, I'm not a big fan of the North Sea.
Niet meer.
Never again.
Never again. Nooit.
I would love to go to South Africa, actually. Do you suggest to go to South Africa? Everyone I hear says it's amazing.
It's amazing. And every now and again you hear the bad stories and things like that. And the country is in a very bad space. We have lots of things, challenges and struggles. But it's the most beautiful, warm place and warm people. Small talk with everybody and before you realize that everybody wants to chat and is your friend, and it's really nice. And there's just so much to see, nature, and so it's just so much to do.
I'm convinced.
Just go. You go. If you want to go, let me know, and I'll give you some suggestions.
Perfect. Yeah. We have a lot of people that are listening that are into the health tech space.
Yeah.
And of course, they will be very happy to hear you giving any advice for them. People trying to get into or become a founder or start something, maybe they have an idea. What would you give as advice?
Yeah, I guess if we're assuming that person is still a student, I would say, let the entrepreneurial itch grow. I would also say, get involved with multiple projects, because you never know the things that you pick up. In fact, innovation is one definition I heard somewhere about innovation is applying something, an existing know-how in a very different context or different application. Yeah. So when I came to KU Leuven, I had the opportunity as an international student I wasn't allowed to teach because I was only in Netherlands, and eventually I could do some guest lectures, but because I was one of the PhD students that wasn't allowed to teach, I had the opportunity then more time to get involved with various projects and collaborate and co-author on all kinds of projects, and that helped me also get inspired by what other technology, because normally it's validation or new technologies, and you just get exposed to different ideas and people and inspired. So I'd say, if you're interested in entrepreneurship, just get involved. Just show up and get involved, and don't take everything specifically too seriously, but just soak up things like a sponge. And I think even now there's so many initiatives that are amazing. That's in Flanders and also in KU Leuven, for example. One of my colleagues at KU Leuven at LRD, Tina van Lommel, she created this KU Leuven Kick, which it's really like a little incubator that allows students to just walk in, like literally the doors open, and pitch an idea or get feedback from mentors, and get involved so you have some guidance towards what are you doing with your idea. And I think some people always like, I have an idea, I shouldn't share it, but I think that's the exact opposite. You will hear a lot of people saying that sounds crazy or whatever, but
no one's going to steal your idea.
No one's going to steal your idea. If I think about how many years it takes to get one idea like starting to work
off the ground,
just get off the ground, the resources needed, the capabilities needed. The last thing to worry about is someone stealing your idea. And I must say, like, sometimes you get that feeling, especially if you attend like these biotech kind of congresses and things, or you speak to the legal department and you're like, patent, or but like, of course there's core know-how that you must keep secret. But the commercialization questions around it, the more validation you have, the better. And if you have an idea, immediately try and figure out who's the end user and speak to them and identify what are their pain points and things like that. And then okay, maybe there's some merit in this to create something and do it and then make the leap. Yeah.
Fail fast.
Also,
it's something that I hear a lot. Just do it and then get the feedback from the end user and then iterate.
And iterate, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Do you have any advice for runners?
For runners,
Buy RunEasi?
Go get a RunEasi assessment. For now, you can't buy one.
Okay.
You can't buy one yourself. We have a very exciting launch coming up soon where that might be possible, but still through the physiotherapist, where you can say, you know what, I want to be monitored on a regular basis. So that's something that's brewing that we're really excited about. We have some really good use cases there. If you're an everyday runner, and I'll say, if for now it's based on if you are training for something and you're feeling a niggle or you're feeling a pain, don't wait. Really don't wait. Like, you can get good quality information about your status before it's too late. So if you just started training for the Antwerp 10 miles,
I think it's in 4 weeks? 3 weeks?
I think it's in 4 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
So
it may be a bit late to train. Right?
Some people might be starting now.
For next year.
For all the people listening that are starting now,
Stop.
Or do it and then get injured and then go see a physiotherapist and then figure out why I shouldn't have done that. No. No, there's also the philosophy of if it ain't broken, don't try fix it. So meaning like, you don't necessarily, you would say you don't need a RunEasi assessment if you have no problems, you have no injuries, you're training, everything's good. But what happens is that there's these key moments in almost every runner's career where they suddenly set the bar much higher. They have a new goal. Suddenly they're like, I've always done half marathons, and now I want to do a marathon.
Yeah.
I've never got injured.
Yeah.
Well, it's when there's this sudden leaps in ambitions and training loads and impact, or even someone that's always run in the city and then they go to the Ardennen for a weekend weg, and they do the Heuvelese trail and they sprain their ankle, or they get a different type of injury and they're not prepared for that. So it's about preparing for whenever there's a change in the goals or the intent of the running, it changes the load on the body, and the body has to adapt to it. And that provides an opportunity to say, I should maybe get an assessment on a small experiment, like we did now outside your practice. Yeah. You took 1 minute to do one in the streets. Say they're doing say they're running on the cobblestones. We noticed that it can disrupt the instability quite a lot.
Exactly.
If you're someone that always has to train on cobblestones, then you should do a quick assessment on the cobblestones and see how can you improve yourself on that particular environment. So there is like finding that key moment. It's just in time to say, I'll get an assessment, even though right now I don't have any pains. Although I start to feel a little stiff here and there, and if you're twyfeling, if you're a little bit unsure, it's a quick assessment to go to physiotherapy practice and get one done, and it can be one of the news. You can see it as a vital sign. You're getting your vitals checked.
I was thinking about some people do a bike fit. Yeah. This would be like a running fit.
It's a running fit, get your running fit done so that you know whether you're in the right condition and prepared for it. And sometimes it's just that seeing the data is a bit that shock factor. Like, whoa, okay, my score is in the 50s or 30s or something like that. I was aware that my condition wasn't so bad, but I haven't really been paying attention to it lately. And it actually makes sense. I really haven't been training properly in quite a while. Now is the time I should do something about it. So it's a great motivator as well. It's not just to name and shame and be like, oh my gosh, my score is so low. And feel like I should never run again because my score is horrendous. It's designed in a way to inspire you to say, this is the worst it can get. This is rock bottom. Only way up.
Nice. Where can people find physiotherapists that use RunEasi? Is there a list somewhere?
We don't make it publicly available at the moment, but anyone that is interested can either just go to our website and drop web form, contact form, and we have dozens of runners that have asked us, where can I get a RunEasi assessment? And typically what we do there is we do a quick map search of our closest, a radial search for them, so they can have maybe 2 or 3 options. Sometimes they're in a city where they have like 10 options, and we just give them the list. And normally we also rank it by, for example, RunEasi experts. So a lot of them take a certification course.
Yeah, I saw. Yep.
And we think it's important that it continue. Like any clinician needs to do continuous learning and development, and we have this, not a very long course, but it's in depth on theory and research, but then quickly into the applied side, that just certifies them that they use RunEasi and then they know how to use it. And then normally we recommend that they go to their RunEasi certified practices.
Nice.
In the area.
I also have a lot of physiotherapists that are listening. If they want to get involved with RunEasi, what can they do, or how to contact you?
Yeah, there's multiple ways. I think website's usually the easiest. Book a demo. We have a very responsive team, very enthusiastic team as well. So it's just boom, book a demo, a couple of questions. So we know you're a right good match for us. And then it'll book a quick half an hour or half uurtje. You can book during lunch, with your colleagues if you want to while you're eating. Yeah. Typically, our team is based in Flanders. We're very mobile as well. So if the physiotherapist would like a live demonstration, we often offer that as well as a preference to say, we will come over to you, and we'll do it also like over lunch or over a break where some of your colleagues can join. And once they see it, it's the experience. It really shortens the time to grasping what you measure, what do you do with it. The ideas start popping up, and the quality of the conversations are often much higher. Yeah. Book a demo. We can show you, demonstrate how it can be used either in the practice as an assessment tool or as a training tool for biofeedback. So you can see the patient, you can show the data to the patient and allow them to change or find ways to improve their running quality score, their weakest link. I think that's a whole new field of physical therapy, gait retraining that is like really at its infancy. Only the tip of the iceberg has been scratched by a few research hybrid clinicians in the United States, and also normally for walking, but in running it's really
finding the weakest link and then
improving
and strengthening that,
and not to sit and more from a movement coordination perspective. You have the knowledge of the result, you have that feedback loop instantaneously, and you can move in different ways and see the impact immediately on the screen, how that moves the needle in a good way or sometimes in a bad way. Sometimes they would say like, I read a blog post from a popular magazine and they said I should run with my forefoot, or I should
those are things that we haven't yet talked about.
There's a whole
lot of cues also.
A lot of cues, and a lot of physiotherapists ask what are the right cues to use, and we always want to say like, you can try these, but it's so like individual.
Run soft. You hear a lot.
Run soft.
For some people, running soft doesn't feel good or is not their style.
Yeah, and it's all in the nuances behind it, because what how do you define something as simple as the word soft? What is soft? What is soft to you? Soft to you is I don't hear slapping. That sometimes it's a foot slap. Running soft to me would be I don't hear boom, 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 like someone that's really like a heavy runner. So there's the whole field of gait retraining and all these cues. You have to get it's a communication thing, right? And it's interpretation, and it's so fine tuned that some people respond unbelievably, like in the second you see like bam,
everything changing,
and it's like this. It feels like a magic bullet. Like their running quality goes from 50 to 70, and their impact is improved, and they found like, say it's run softly, and now suddenly I can, and then they reinforce it, and like, I can really feel the difference, and I can see the data.
I think that's the biggest advantage. I feel like we're entering some kind of new age. I feel like we were like cavemen, just running and then feeling how it feels, running soft or keeping the cadence a bit higher. And now you can see what all those changes in the biomechanics really give. Even for the patient, they can see the improvement.
Seeing what's going on inside the body.
Yeah. Very cool stuff. I think the end of RunEasi has how to say it. Ik zou zeggen in het Nederlands, het einde van RunEasi is er nog zeker niet. Ik denk dat er nog heel veel potentieel in zit. Dus ik ga jullie blijven volgen. En ik zou het graag ook nog wat verder uitzoeken zelf. Dus ik zal een keer horen bij kines, bij vrienden kines, of dat die een RunEasi hebben. En anders zal ik ze naar jullie verwijzen. Want ik denk dat het zeker een heel cool en heel waardevol en heel bruikbaar tool is. Dikke merci om op de podcast te komen. Het was een eer.
Ja, dank je wel.
Merci om te komen. Ja, want vanuit Hasselt tot hier, het is ook een eindje.
Beetje film, maar niet slecht. Hè.
Ik hoop dat je geen file hebt in de terugkeer.
Ja, it's always, ik vind het, makkelijker and so much more warmly to just to see each other and face to face in person and not at Teams.
Exactly.
Zoom call.
I've done a few Teams calls. Of course, they're useful.
Yeah, they're still useful.
But the connection is way better live. It's so much more fun also. So.
Amazing experience to be and to chat with you and discuss all these exciting new developments. So thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.